Hey. Helps to hit play. My mustache game. Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geek Bytes podcast, episode number 174 of the show. I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Acosta.
And every single week on this podcast, we bring you the roundup of the week's best geek and tech news. We discuss that news and, of course, anything else we happen to be interested in this week. And this week, we're talking about some interesting stuff, including
even more bendable phones. The robber caught by his scooter. The Resident Evil series. Rumors about Hulk and Gambit. Reboots galore, the movie trailer showdown, and much more.
I just realized the rumors about Hulk and Gambit sounds a little naughty to me when I think about it that way. The way you said it, I'm like, not that was implied. But we, of course, start off with geek news. Darn, you sound not working. It's like I have to have it up. It's weird.
Got a re-update,
I guess. Several technical snafus apparently this week. Slowing things down.
It's Royal Rumble Day. Come on, man.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, first bit of news we have is more bendy phones. China's Xiaomi has become the latest smartphone maker to tease a foldable smartphone, dropping the video clip we're going to be showing you a little bit of a co-founder, President Bin Lin, fondling the device on social media. He actually posted it on Twitter, showing basically turning a tablet-sized phone and folding it in thirds. Not in half, but in thirds. He got the third thing going down, folding into like this phablet kind of look at things. So we'll pull it up for you folks at home. So watching the video program so you can see what that looks like. And there it is, right there.
So it's still touch screeny.
Tablety there.
Whoa,
oh, fold.
What?
And there you go.
What?
I actually like this one better than the other one, to be honest.
I wonder if it has a clicky sound. Remember the other ones had like the little clicky sound because it bended in sections?
Yeah. So yeah.
No, it's just a basic idea.
Yep. Tablet, foldy fold, and there you go.
So you'll be able to fit it in your pocket.
Yeah, and then
you like it? Do you love it? Do you want it?
I actually kind of like it, to be honest. Like it's just the right size, and it folds up to something that's similar to a regular phone. Mm-hmm. So it can be phone-like, and like. That's generally a better size to me than just like folding in half. I'm like, oh, that does really still fit in my pocket.
I'm surprised they just haven't made it into like a dual. Like a slide screen, like you have your phone and you just pull the little tab out.
I think they have those.
Expand it, yeah.
Yeah, they do. It's like the Razer Kickstarter or something, or Kicker, and it pops out and expands it. But this one's like all one screen, and it's just, man, I'm kind of curious to see how many times you get bended before it actually starts to crack or crease or break. But
yeah, that's thing.
This is definitely something new, at least for the phone market. An analyst are actually saying that this particular thing it's going to be a thing, apparently. That the phone market hasn't really changed in the last, I don't know, like 15 years since it went full like regular touchscreen. And they're saying this might be the thing that keeps phone sales going because everybody's eventually going to want to do the foldy thing.
You know what I'm thinking what's going to happen next, and this is just for obviously amusement, is scroll style. Like an old Japanese scroll, like a paper.
No, yeah, we were talking about that last week with
like
the
parchments.
with the television that was like super big and it rolled up into a scroll. Mm-hmm. That could potentially be as far as like having a larger tablet screen.
Exactly.
But that all that technology kind of comes in the same kind of concept, like making bendable.
Have it
screens.
in a tube.
Yeah,
just
yeah, absolutely. That's just slightly different, but it's still the same kind of concept about having a bendable screen, and that's all this technology is coming into. Yeah. So, would you buy this though?
Not really.
No,
I honestly,
I'm assuming like the specs are the same as your regular phone.
Yeah.
If you have two phones, one is bendy and folded into thirds or halves, and one doesn't. Which one would you go for?
Well, honestly, I wouldn't go because my thing. I don't know about you, but I'm one of those like obviously I'll show real quick. No case. Yeah. I used to have a case on it, and because I was clumsy, dropped it, and didn't want anything to happen to it. But would they have an existing case or something like that?
No, all this would be customized. I mean, you don't really. That's a good question. It's not a bad question. It's like, all those things would come out and played. And, you have a case on the outside that's foldable as well, or in some degree or another. Yeah, I don't doubt that people are going to make accessories for things.
Exactly, because you're like, check out my new phone.
It's not cool enough for you to just buy it because of that factor, though. For me, it is. Actually, if there were two identical phones, same spec, same size, and one folded in thirds and fit in my pocket better, I'm probably going to go with the folded one, to be honest.
You forgot you have it in your back pocket and you sit down and crack.
It's the same thing with your regular phone. You don't put your phone in your back pocket, though. Right? So I'm like, it's the same concept. Okay. Next story is going to be the bank robber who was caught by his scooter. Apparently, this is an actual thing somebody thought that didn't think of. According to an Austin American statesman in Texas, a 19-year-old, they actually gave his name too, Luca Menegherano, was charged with robbing a bank. He showed up at the bank and he gave them a note. He robbed them, and then he was caught because of his Uber-owned Jump electric scooter. Apparently, the man. That was the means of escape. So he robs the bank, he jumps on his electric scooter and gets away. But because cameras showed that he was using the Jump electric scooter, cops just went to Uber and like said, which scooter is this? Where did he get it from? And who is it? And they gave him the information.
Wow.
Because you have to enter your credit card information and, for...
Track it.
To spend, to purchase, to rent it, basically.
Or if you steal it.
Yeah, and there's tracking information on the scooter. Who would have guessed?
GPS, man.
Yeah, and so they used all the information not only to find out the guy's name, address, but also exactly where he was, and that's all the evidence they needed to track him and find him and arrest him. So they tracked him all the way out to his apartment where the scooter was.
There was a joke commercial on the same concept with this team of bank robbers, and they called like an Uber / whatever phone service pickup thing, and he's like, "Are you Bill? Oh yeah, hey, how's it going?" Just to get away with it.
Yeah,
but
not the most intelligent.
How
robber.
fast can those things actually get?
I think they can go like 10, 15 miles an hour.
Wow.
I mean,
obviously not have that much money.
Well, obviously, I don't think he had the money if he was robbing a bank.
Well, the other obvious would be, of course, and this is me going old-timey cartoony, you see a dude running around in a scooter with, a big dollar bill sign bag.
Yeah.
That'd be another kind of,
like money just floating off the back. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, that they just followed his trail, basically.
The guy wearing the black and white stripes with the, domino mask and the Nick cap.
The Hamburglar.
Pretty much a Hamburglar.
Yeah, so the guy was caught by his scooter. So that's the tech story.
The other obvious, giveaway.
Yeah. Okay. Next story starts us into gaming. Apparently Metroid Prime 4 is getting restarted. And if you haven't heard about the story, apparently Nintendo with the Nintendo Switch had planned since 2017 to release a new Metroid game, and it's been in production for over 2 years now. Nintendo announced this week essentially that the game that they got sucked, and they didn't say it in so many words. They were very polite about it, but it basically said, no, we're going to give this game to the original studio again so they can restart it and redo development from scratch, apparently. So that kind of sucks, because that means we're not going to get another Metroid game for another year or two at minimum, because they're completely starting over. And like, oh, well, maybe that's great then. Maybe that's the thing they need to do. But that definitely a surprise to a lot of Nintendo fans.
Wow.
Yeah, and they made like a real official announcement, like for real. Like they made like a whole YouTube video with the president of Nintendo's coming on their CEO, and they're like, "Sorry, folks, I'm just letting you know everything on the Metroid Prime situation. I apologize, but we are going to start over with the original company." And like I said, that kind of implies, wow, that other game they got sucked.
Hey, if I can wait 13 plus years for Kingdom Hearts 3, and these people can wait just a little longer.
I feel like that's a meme. You're like, we've been waiting 2 years for Nintendo Metroid 4. And
well, even during all that time, they could do a simple version. Obviously, once again, there's the downloadables for the old school retro guys. I think it's on the Nintendo Classic Metroid, and to go back and get familiar with the game.
It's an opportunity. There you go. Because that's what you're doing basically at this point.
Retro gaming?
Well, you're going over the Kingdom Hearts entire series.
Oh yeah.
Before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, so that you can catch up on the amazingly complex story that they have. And honestly, I like how you realized I didn't realize there were this many Kingdom Hearts games.
Oh yeah,
because you got the collection and you got all of them, and not just like the ones that were exclusive to like the PlayStation or anything. And so it's a much bigger library of content.
Way longer, way whatever. I might just pick it up, but I'll just literally have it on the shelf. Right now, there's, for the Kingdom Hearts, real quick geeky news on it. GameStop has officially will not take any more pre-orders for their game
canceled orders. They actually canceled orders for the existing. So like, no, we're just going to give you a $25 credit just to say we're sorry, but we're canceling things.
Yeah, they're not making that.
And that might be because GameStop is actually might close. They're actually changing ownership, remember? So it might also have something to do with that.
Yeah.
So all kinds of interesting things happening in the gaming world.
Yeah. So,
but we're going to move on to our next story, which is Resident Evil 2.
Video games.
Yeah, actually, Resident Evil 2's has been, I want to say, rebooted, but they did a redone version. Have you actually played it?
not played it, but I've seen it.
Okay,
it's
it looks much prettier. It absolutely does compared to the original. And there have been plenty of reviews. Most people seem to like it, especially if you play the original. They're like, oh, this is a much better version of the game. It combines better graphics with more modern gaming mechanics. It's more like the more recent Resident Evil games where it's like, oh, it's third person over the shoulder perspective and where you're aiming, and so the set design isn't quite the same, but in addition to that, apparently Netflix is also going to be doing a Resident Evil series. So that's the scuttle from Deadline, basically.
Oh yeah, they've even coming out with the release of this game. They even had their own little exclusive. They had this amazing collector edition with this awesome Leon statue and everything. Right. Everybody wanted to see the Leon character brought back, and I think he came back in part 4, if I'm right. But yeah, it was amazing. The only thing that was kind of upsetting, I did not watch the quote unquote last Resident Evil movie.
Yeah.
But he was never in any of them. I think he might have been mentioned, if I'm right, but I've never seen the very last Resident Evil movie.
Yeah. No, there's definitely I want to say he was in one of them at least, but this is not based on the movie franchise. This is actually definitely from the video game. That's the series is going to be based on at this point. But yeah, definitely looks like a very pretty game compared to what it was originally, where it was very pixelated. I mean, it was different time.
It's time.
And at the time, that looked amazing. And they worked within the hardware system to make something as pretty as possible, compared to what was existing. And by comparison with other games at the time, it really did look better.
Yeah, the thing even at the time when this game came out, and it was.
I'll show you a little bit of clips, folks, from if you're watching the video version of what the game actually looks like.
Yeah, and
when they're playing.
Oh my god, it's so clean. And the popularity of it was so big that it was rumored that they were going to have, just because of the likeness, they were going to have a Leonardo DiCaprio play Leon, just because he had the hair and the look, and he was the it boy of that time.
Yeah, he definitely has that boy band kind of look going on.
Oh yeah. So. But it was fun. It was one of the first quote unquote horror games that scared me, because it was one of those quiet moments you just hear your character just.
Well, yeah, the way the game was designed was that all the backgrounds were static, and so you're only really moving the main character and the zombies coming up. So it was a very cinematic look, in that the set was each frame each frame of the camera angle was already set.
Yes.
So they could put it wherever they want to, and when the monsters would jump out at you, you couldn't see them in advance, same way you can with a third-person perspective, video camera framing. So it was very revolutionary for the time, and also set the tone of like, oh, you never know what's around the corner because you can't see around the corner.
Exactly. You're like, what's that?
It also made movement really difficult. So
that kind of deal.
All those things. So very pretty game, but also good to know that we're going to get another, hopefully good and animated series.
And if it takes off well, even more. So let's crank out part 6,
Netflix
7,
is not afraid of spending money. Okay, next story, Hulk. Red Hulk and apparently Professor Hulk. These are the rumors. Again, this is totally rumory for what version of the Hulk we're going to see in the Avengers Endgame movie. Basically, there are rumors that you're not going to see your regular Hulk. The rumor basically goes out from Epic Stream saying that you're going to see one or possibly both. You're going to see either the Red Hulk or you're going to see Professor Hulk. Professor Hulk, of course, being the version of the Hulk where Bruce Banner's mind is actually in charge of the Hulk body. So you're going to get the intelligence of Bruce Banner with the Hulk's physicality and his anger management issues. Red Hulk, of course, being a villain or an antagonistic force for the Hulk. Originally, is created by merging Hulk DNA with General Ross, and he becomes the Red Hulk, who catches on fire when he gets really angry, apparently, and not just gets stronger.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I should see Professor Hulk. Remember at the end of Avengers, it was the Hulk wasn't showing up anymore because he was afraid or something was happening, and so there is definitely that conflict there. So if Bruce Banner wants to be able to access those abilities still, he might have to modify how he interacts with the Hulk. Like he might be dispossessing the regular Hulk mentality. Other fans have also noted within the change from the regular Hulk series to the Avengers Hulk, that as the series has progressed, Hulk has become more and more intelligent. Comparing him from Thor Ragnarok to like the very first version of the Avengers Hulk, Hulk was actually speaking intelligently. Remember? And so that's also something that fans are pointing to.
Because especially the very first time, not the first time, but in Avengers, they showed that Bruce Banner was literally its mind over body.
Right.
That he could turn into the Hulk in an instant whenever he wants to.
No, I just learned to always be angry. Yeah,
exactly. But I don't see it happening. Marketing wise,
I definitely think Smart Hulk is the way they're going to go.
Well, that was the thing. There was like a bunch of fan theories when
and I also think there were other things contributing to the rumors. The fact that there were some toy releases for Avengers Endgame because that show a different looking Hulk.
Yeah, because remember, even in Age of Ultron, there was a lot of theories that they thought they were going to show the Gray Hulk because there were people that were studying stills on it. It looks like it's a Gray Hulk just because of the coloring.
Yeah, he just CGI'd.
But also then when we watched Infinity War.
They actually took out part of Hulk's original CGI appearances. He was supposed to appear in the trailer. You see Hulk more
running in through the jungles or whatever.
Then they took him out as like the story was altered and changed. Mm-hmm. So
who knows?
You never know. Yeah,
never know what
maybe they're just testing the bet of like, maybe we are now that the internet seems to love this idea, or they'll take him out eventually. So there you go. In other entertainment news, we actually have a very interesting story. The Mighty Ducks have returned, or at least they had a reunion. Apparently, this past weekend, 4 cast members of the Mighty Ducks got together in Anaheim Station, and they did some Mighty Duck skating. There you go. Yeah, that's all it was basically. But for a lot of fans who were grew up with the Mighty Ducks, and this was kind of a fun thing.
The only one that I was really kind of big on the news, so for the Mighty Ducks, obviously we all caught the news on it, is Goldberg. He had that little run-in with the law, where he was caught doing drugs or something, and he was causing a muck. Right. It was a big LA story, and obviously he just showed what the dark side of childhood stars, the route.
Well, yeah, that's all very true. Thanks for. But there is some though. Went down it, man.
Yeah, but there were some other cast members that were a lot more popular, other than Goldberg, making himself name. There you go, Joshua Jackson, more known from being in Dawson's Creek.
Yeah,
he eventually made a name for himself. That's him.
No, that's I think he's more famous than him.
Yeah, Kenan Thompson.
Yeah,
definitely Kenan Thompson. Kenan Thompson. There's of course I don't want to call
it. He's on SNL now, so I'm like, he's been doing a lot more things. He's got his own show, actually several shows.
Call it racial or not, but like they say, black don't crack. He looks like he's not aged ever since Nickelodeon.
No, he's actually looking pretty good.
But which is kind of weird because he was a Mighty Duck that didn't join until part 3.
Right.
Did you watch the series like part 1?
Yeah, I remember. I've seen them all.
Did you ever watch the cartoon series?
I don't recall ever seeing the cartoons. I don't actually know there was a cartoon series till you said it.
Do you know the only reason there's an actual NHL hockey team is because of the movie?
The Mighty Ducks, yeah.
Yeah, who knew Disney the popularity? Yeah.
Yeah, because Disney owned that. Hey, we got this nice title. Hardy moves into the hockey arena. Let's go with that name. We own the IP.
Oh, yeah. There's so many guys on here. It's just, oh, my God. The team has expanded, of course.
Everybody grew up, of course.
Now, what do you think? Especially with popularity, do you think it's a matter of time before they go reboot or next generation?
They already talked about a reboot with it, and we're like, no, nobody asked for that. But
that's going to happen.
All the things in talk. We're going to come with some more interesting reboots in a little bit later in the show. But the Mighty Ducks is already being talked about as a reboot. So we'll have to wait till it actually comes through.
In your vision of a reboot, what do you think? Next generation or a whole new
the exact same story with a different coach. Maybe a coach from the original team comes back and is like, this
one of the kids is now the coach?
That's it, yeah.
Who would you think? Let's go Goldberg. Just because... That'd be funny.
I'm going to go with
Kenan Thompson being the coach.
Whoever's the most famous at this point, yeah. Yeah, there you go. You have to use fame for something. Like you need a title or a character in there who's going to at least put some seats in some butts in seats, man.
I don't know if he's / alive if not doing anything. Joshua Jackson, him because he was the captain.
We'll see.
So how can he not use the captain to be the coach?
He's not famous anymore. You know what I mean? And so that's what they have to use. Like they have to use somebody who's going to be famous in there.
Bring back the cast of Dawson's Creek and they'll be famous again.
Sure. Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah. Then it's the Dawson Creek reboot, which they might do as well.
Like everything else.
Yeah. Okay. Next bit of entertainment news, we have Gambit. Apparently, this is totally rumory. Gambit might not be canceled. We know that this film has had so many problems in just keeping a director, and that's mostly because Fox has not been super committed to making this happen. They keep pushing timelines and scripts back and changing things every time there's a snafu. So directors have been coming and going left and right because they have other projects and they want to actually work and get paid. And so the latest rumor is that Channing Tatum might actually take the helm of the director role as well as starring in it, just so the film can actually be made.
I say do it for the sake of doing it. Just don't let Bryan Singer touch it in any.
But it's definitely one of those. Form. It's definitely one of those things where this is a weird transitionary period where Fox is currently being purchased by Disney, and that's not going to go through for like several months. Apparently, like with January, so about 5 or 6 more months at least.
Yeah.
And so everything that Fox has is going to be Disney's.
They're rushing it.
Everything that was already planned for Fox, all their stories and all their movies that were planned up, anything that's not been made yet, it has kind of already been canceled, and that sort of includes Gambit. And so the fact that Channing Tatum is willing to direct and star is like, oh, that seems really desperate to keep this thing going.
It's going to be crunch time for him because until Disney and Fox cross their T's and dot their I's, nothing is set in stone.
No, yeah, absolutely. And some of even the movies that have already been made have been changed already. Like the Dark Phoenix saga has already been pushed back. They have already done reshoots. I think their budget is currently ballooned to like $200 million, which is definitely no bueno. Yeah. The New Mutants movie has been pushed back over a year already, but now it's originally scheduled for 2018 release, and it's already been pushed back to like June and August of 2019. And there are also rumors, which we'll talk about in a little bit, of them actually possibly not being on the big screen at all and being pushed to Hulu instead as a direct to streaming option instead. Yeah. So many weird things are happening. And this is not even the weirdest rumor here. And that Channing Tatum might not only star in this movie, but also direct. He's still attached apparently to the movie. It hasn't been officially canceled. But it's a weird situation for Channing Tatum.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing at Comic-Con, because he was rocking a Gambit shirt at the time. He was with the cast of X-Men.
Who doesn't want to be in the X-Men? Who doesn't want to do a superhero? Like every single star ever at this point wants to be a superhero in a superhero movie.
Yeah, other than, I can't even think of his name, but the first Gambit in the Wolverine movie, I don't even know the name. He's the only guy that's claimed the role, other than Mr. Tatum. But right now,
yeah. But even then, that was definitely a risky move for Wolverine at that point, because he wasn't famous. That's the movie that really launched him and his career. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely a risky move in trying to bring back superheroes at that point. So. Mm-hmm. And at this point, everybody's like, "Oh, I know, I want to be the next, Iron Man. I want to get my career back and just launch into millions and millions of dollars." So that's what everybody wants to do. And whether that's going to work or not, we never know. Our next story kind of talks about, again, a little more about the New Mutants being pushed back. There was actually a rumor saying that, again, that the producers don't have a lot of faith in this movie. They're already doing reshoots again at the end to make it a little more horrorish right now. And that they're genuinely considering just pushing it to Hulu because they can't see it succeeding in theaters for the New Mutants movie, and that is not very reassuring. Yeah. No. So were you interested in seeing this as a horror film?
Well, all X-Men related stuff, yes. And I think we did see the trailer, or at least like a teaser trailer.
No, there was absolutely a trailer.
Really good.
It was definitely horror. So like, everybody's in an asylum and they have mutant power. So all this supernatural stuff doesn't seem super out of the way. But it was definitely a very interesting choice, turning a superhero film into a horror movie. I was like, oh, that's a
good concept.
Yeah, that could be curious. Yeah. And we were interested in it. And I think some of the stars from like Stranger Things had shown up in this particular movie as well. So it's like, you just get the chance to be a superhero and they're shelving your film to streaming directly. That's like we're going straight to DVD.
Yeah. So like right now, like I said, it's right now crunch time for whatever X-Men titled stuff that they can't put out until Disney, once those T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, then we'll see what Disney itself is going to do.
And Antapolis was like, it's that Fox Disney merger that's really screwing up all these things.
Yeah. But once it's in Disney's hands, obviously the record shows for itself. Yeah. With the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I have high hopes for good things for them. In the X-Men universe, X-Men out.
Because now they can merge all those Marvel characters instead of just being X-Men universe and Marvel universe. It can be merging. You can have Spider-Man, or maybe not Spider-Man, but like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah,
and all those other Marvel characters all in the same universe potentially at some point, and it can be really fun.
Yeah, there's this little fan-made cartoon still of a panoramic scene of Infinity War where they showed all the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even the Netflix Marvel characters all together on the screen, and it's entitled "Everything Everybody want to see, but we'll never ever
you said
see.
Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer in there, and everybody, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, more entertainment news. We have more information. We have talking about reboots. We are apparently going to get a reboot for Ghostbusters, and Sony Pictures has recently announced this last week that Jason Reitman is going to be directing a new Ghostbuster film released in July of 2020. They actually have a teaser trailer out, which is not really a full trailer, which is why it's on our trailer showdown. All it really shows is the car. We'll actually play it here right here. But it is basically the Jason Reitman is the son of the original director for the Ghostbuster films, Ivan Reitman, and he is going to be directing a new Ghostbuster film. That's all we really know. There's no plot points at this point. There's been a general casting call for young-ish actors. So they're looking at below 20 years old for acting. And the rumor is that it's going to be a more teen-driven Ghostbuster film. And not all the original cast is really excited about that. What's her name? Tweeted it. Leslie Jones, who's one of the actresses in the last reboot of the Ghostbuster films, the all female driven version of that franchise. She went on Twitter. She was really mad about this. She's like, "Oh, this is not cool. They're like gonna pretend we don't exist."
"Quote unquote," it was a dick move.
Yeah, that's what she actually said. And she's like, "It's like Trump saying that, oh, it's better with men." And so she got really mad about it without actually knowing much information about it at this point. But still, I understand that she feels she's expecting, oh, I'm a Ghostbuster now. This is my franchise. And apparently,
please, come on, it's not like you own it.
Sony did not agree.
Yeah, come on. Well, like you were the Winston, literally, of that team. And if you saw the trailer, there was a lot of people kind of doing a little investigating on it, where they showed like a date on the side of the car, which was thinking it was going to be the release date of when the movie's going to come out. So they're going to have the original cast. They're going to have Bill Murray and all them they're having together.
Original cast members there.
They even did Entertainment Weekly had a cover of the
original cast members.
Sad to say, last remaining
who's alive. Yeah.
Exactly.
Including Sigourney Weaver, if I believe.
Exactly. And, of course, the Janine character right in the front, which I had to think for her. It's next generation, so who knows if it's going to be the kids or how it's going to be applied.
We're showing the trailer for you folks watching the video version. We can't show the sound just because we get flagged on YouTube if we
just think stormy weather. Exactly. So that kind of makes you wonder, like, wait a minute, how did the Ecto end up in a barn?
Yeah, so there you go.
Who covered it up? Are they hiding? Is it a secret kind of thing? What's going on?
Summer 2020. That's literally all the trailer does, which is not a real trailer.
To me, the only people that characters that I really want to see, Janine, because I have a little crush on her, and Slimer, of course. There you go. Everyone wants to see Slimer.
I don't doubt that he's going to be back. He's been in all the movies.
Yeah.
More so than anyone else, obviously.
Yeah, he's even doing Walmart commercials last time I checked.
See, there you go. Slimer's beloved. Okay, next entertainment story, we're talking about reboots again. We're apparently also going to get a reboot of the Three Stooges movie. That's right, the Three Stooges movie, which came out about probably 10 years ago, which is supposed to be a reboot of the entire franchise. They're doing another reboot, also featuring teenagers. That's right, teenagers, or young adults, actually. They're searching for 12-year-old boys, so preteens, to play Larry, Moe, and Curly, and they're going to have their own movie.
So if you're hairless down there, or barely any, hey, this is your opportunity.
Apparently this is the thing now. And so instead of being women or people of color, now it's teens, and that's the way they're shifting.
As long as you're white,
franchises. No, potentially, I don't know.
Technically, you're Jewish. I don't know if you consider white people Jewish. Or Jewish, well, that's more of a religion.
Okay,
that's more of a religion.
I'm not gonna touch that one, but yes, it's
just got to be careful.
Gentle,
tread lightly.
Yeah, be gentle with it.
Be Gentiles.
But
I did it.
There you go.
But yeah.
Yes, folks. So there you go. So that's reboots for Ghostbusters and the Three Stooges, all announced in the same weeks.
Remember when the first reboot originally was going to be with like Jim Carrey being as Curly, and he was supposed to be gaining a whole bunch of weight to be that character?
Yeah.
But then they went a different route. I think it was Benicio del Toro was supposed to be Moe, and I forgot who was going to be.
There were a bunch of people attached to the film, and none of them kind of made it in. And that movie didn't really do particularly well.
You saw it?
In the theaters? It was okay. It's an okay film. The original black and whites are classics, of course.
Yes.
But essentially trying to copy that for a modern day audience didn't really seem to work. Because it felt like they were copying something that's already existing instead of being original. And
To me, it was just
it was fine. It was
call it a tribute.
Yeah.
Call it.
And I'm not sure how good a teen version of that's going to do, but kid films, Disney can do a lot of kid films, and even though this is Sony, it's like, that there's an audience there.
Yeah,
so, and I think it's easier to do that with kid films. There are lower expectations there.
Yeah, because that version, if I'm right, was still done by the Farley brothers, which did do Dumb and Dumber, which they did do a Dumb and Dumber when Harry met Lloyd when they were in high school. So they did go the younger generation style. And how well did that turn out?
Yep. I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay, one more reboot, folks. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Apparently, later this year, they're going to start production on a very new reboot of a reboot of a reboot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's right. The producer is still going to be Michael Bay, Andrew Form, and Brad Fuller's Platinum Dunes production company.
Okay, so what do you think? CG, costume, or animated?
Costume.
Like foam suits? Like
I'm hoping they're going to do costume. I mean, they might go with CGI if it's going to be cheaper, but I'm hoping they go back to the costumes, to be honest.
Now, Eastman style, where it's like very basic bandana compared to the Michael Bay elaborate, all that crap on their shells. I like
the original Teenage Mutant. I think that's what they're going to try to play into, that nostalgia aspect of it personally. So they're going to go with like costumes and animatronics, hopefully, and do it that way instead of just regular CGI. I'm not sure what the cost and the budget's going to be. I'm hoping for regular costumes though instead of CGI.
Now the voice actors are still alive. Would you like to hear Corey Feldman still do the voice of Donatello?
Oh, I don't care. I mean, I didn't realize he did Donatello, to be honest, in the original. So there you go. But like the rebooted version of these characters were absolutely horrible. They were all super extra bulky and tanky, and I'm like, the Ninja Turtles aren't supposed to be. I'm like, I don't know.
I saw both movies. It was an interesting take on it. I wasn't in love with it, but they went where they went.
Did. They went, tried to go big, very Michael Bay-ish, and it showed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 3 reboots, folks. Ninja Turtles, the Three Stooges, and also the Ghostbusters. So all kinds of buddy comedy stuff.
It was talks, but I was very hoping for a Casey Jones movie. I would have been all for a Casey Jones movie. That was interesting.
I always thought it was weird that Steve Amell showed up in the Ninja Turtles as Casey Jones as well. I'm like, Arrow is now Casey Jones.
It's just a hockey mask. Now he became the sports master.
Yeah. So I'm like, cross mixing doesn't work for me.
He's getting into wrestling.
I mean, good for him. I'm like, he's trying to expand his resume. Like, I'm also in movies. I'm not just a television actor, and I'm also a wrestler.
He's physically able, so he's done American Ninja, right?
Yeah, he did it for charity, and he got, I think, halfway through, and then he just kind of like stopped because he didn't want to like show up as being like a failure, basically.
Whatever.
Yeah. It was definitely, because it was also the celebrity edition of it, where it's like, oh, these challenges are a little easier for you guys.
What was that one show that we just saw that was with The Rock, the Titan games?
Yeah, Titan games. I'm like, oh yeah, The Rock can definitely rock those.
Oh yeah,
much harder physically. So there we go. On to our movie trailer showdown, folks. We're gonna have 5 trailers that came in the last couple weeks. So we're going to choose which one is the best. We're going to begin with Shazam. Shazam is this came out a couple weeks ago, about a week ago, and again we can't show you apparently the soundtrack, so otherwise we get dinged by YouTube. So it's Shazam, the kid,
and he flies.
This is again the new trailer that came out for this movie, and it kind of shows off a few different features, like the villain fighting him more directly. There's a little more action here. You get to see some superpowers.
So is that guy, the bad guy that looks like lightning came out, is that Black Adam?
No, that is Professor.
Rock, right?
That's Professor. Black Adam's not going to show up here apparently. That's what they say. That is the Professor something. It's one of the guys who's possessed by one of those 6
spirits or whatever,
sin demons or whatever they are. They actually see the sin demons in here if you look close enough. In one of the earlier frames, you can actually see them as statues.
Oh, really? I thought it was those were the statues of Mercury, whatever,
no.
Zeus.
These guys right here.
Oh, okay.
Those are actually supposed to be the comic versions of those demons. And this is Billy Batson when he's originally going in to meet Shazam from the subway station. Okay. Yeah. And so he goes to the subway tunnel. He follows the call. And this is supposed to be his first introduction to the wizard Shazam, and tells him, oh no, these sinister evil demons are going to escape, and they're terrorizing the world, and humanity needs a champion, basically. And so as you go through the trailer, you'll see one of the powers is to possess regular people and actually superheroes. And so the villain scientist is possessed by one of the demons, and now he's facing off against Shazam. How much the other demons are going to play into this, I don't really know, but you see, he gets powers.
I gotta admit, I think because of his character, personality-wise, the costume is growing on me. Before, everybody's like, dude, really? A muscle suit?
Yeah. Oh, and apparently each one of those suits cost $1 million.
No way.
Yeah, and that's what they say, and they have 10 of them for production.
No way.
So just in suit cost, it's going to be $10 million just in suit cost. Yep.
The making of it.
No, that's they
cosplayers could come out with better stuff.
Oh no, absolutely.
Cheaper money.
Yeah. But they're saying that each one of those suits cost $1 million, apparently with the lights and all the stuff. That's what the internet says. Okay, so
how have you ever been wrong?
Yeah, who would have guessed? Next trailer is going to be the Umbrella Academy. This is one of their official trailers talking about end of the world. Apparently, like 28 women had a baby all on the same day on January 1st, 2000.
Jesus Christ style, like the angel came down. Or
no, something. It's immaculate conception. They weren't pregnant at the start of the day, but they gave birth by the end. And one rich guy adopts 6 of them and turns them into a superhero team, basically.
I love those Robin masks.
They look really nice, actually. I think it's the eye thing, and that the
white out of the eyes. I just love them. To me, it's a House of Robins.
They really do look nice, actually. I thought those were really good features. And then 17 years later, of course, old man is dead, and everybody's at his funeral, and they have to deal with another end of the world situation.
I'm unfamiliar
and family drama.
I'm unfamiliar with Umbrella Inc. So I saw the talking primate. So is he like the Alfred of the house?
Oh, I've never read the comics. I've read portions of them, but I'm genuinely intrigued by the story because I'm like, I haven't seen this story before. This is very much dysfunctional family in a imperfect superhero world where like their powers can go out of control and they can be bad people and they can be broken people in addition to being superheroes.
You've seen this? It was called X-Men.
No, even better than X-Men apparently.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because there are actual consequences of like people dying and people with bad superheroes, and like drug addiction and being murderous, jerks, essentially, at the same time being a superhero.
I'm surprised. The way this felt, the movie, I feel like it could have been like a big BBC kind of European style kind of thing because it has that sense, that flavor, that taste to me. But it's just
it's super stylized. Like there's a lot of action and adventure, and like it's a Netflix series, so it's not just a movie. And they get some pretty big names in there. So I'm like, I can actually see this working really well.
Juno, man,
Juno's one of those actresses. Okay, that's trailer number 2. On to Spider-Man: Far From Home, and we actually have 2 versions of this, with the international and the US version, basically.
Let's give them our money.
This is the international version. The regular U.S. version of it actually had a different beginning.
Yeah.
In what it was Aunt May and Iron Man's butler, Iron Man's
Happy
chauffeur, and there's like this flirting thing going on there. Is that a new dress? Why, yes, you noticed.
Happy Hogan.
Yeah, and so it's like, that's going to be a thing because a lot of fans were like, wait, is she going to hook up with Iron Man? Is she can hook up with Tony Stark because it was in between points between when he wasn't with Pepper Potts anymore before the new movie came out, and they were like, now we're back together and we're going to get engaged. So they had to squash that storyline when Avengers Infinity Wars came out. Yeah. So they're like, no, now she's interested in the driver.
Happy.
Yeah, and so now we have Nick Fury showing up with Spider-Man, and he's taking out his compatriots to hijack their summer adventure, basically.
Yeah, a lot of people were. I was one of them. I'll admit. As soon as you see these like elemental beings, like you'll see like a water.
Yeah,
call it like
Earth,
a water demon,
fire,
demon.
water.
Everybody's like, it's Sandman, it's Hydro Man. No, you got to think of it because it's Mysterio, so it's probably going to be
all fake. They're all made up.
Illusion.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're wondering where they're going to go with him when it comes to abilities. Because the way the setup is, I got a feeling he's creating his own bad guys for him to fight, so he looks like a good guy.
Right.
But
absolutely. I think the exact same thing when I saw the different elemental versions of it. Like, he's creating villains so that he can save people from. And only he can save them.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's the fishbowl everybody
And it's all super staged. Only he's using explosions and other special effects things.
And I noticed here, obviously, we can't play the audio in this specific ending of the trailer. In the American one, he calls him a dick, but in this international trailer, he calls him a loser.
Oh, okay. I don't think remember he calls him if he's a dick. It's something else though. But yeah. Good stuff. And so the fourth one is going to be John Wick Chapter 3.
I hear nothing but good things of this series. I've never seen it.
Really been entertaining. Like John Wick 1 and 2 are both great movies, very action driven. And yeah, that's kind of it. I think it's interesting that Keanu Reeves did his stunt double a favor, basically, by being in John Wick 1. The director of John Wick 1 and the writer is Keanu Reeves' stunt double.
Oh,
and so
that's pretty cool.
Keanu Reeves essentially did him a solid by like, yeah, I'll be in your movie. We'll see how this goes. And movie 1 is very low budget. Like it's like super low budget. A lot of it takes place in his house. And it's just a lot of action and stunt stuff basically, which absolutely makes sense from a stunt director. And it did really well. And so they did number 2, and now we're on number 3, and each one gets bigger and bigger and bigger, with more and more stars. So
Mark the Costco's, man. Yeah.
So lots of good action and actiony killing and murdery assassination stuff here, and it looks like a really interesting film.
So the little TikTok timing done. So he has like an explosive attached to him. If he doesn't get it off or turn it off, he'll blow up.
The premise of the series is that John Wick was a retired assassin.
Okay.
He'd quit the life, and then I think his girlfriend dies or something, and
all I know is a dog dies and he loses his shit and he just goes off on everybody.
Yeah, no. So one of the assassins comes for him, like one of his former assassin teammates, or the assassin world. Like this is a world basically set up as like, oh, assassination happens, and they have a whole setup of secret hotels, which are safe houses, and to get equipment, and they do jobs in exchange for like special currency that's assassin currency to get their upgrades and everything. But there's a whole system set up for like assassins in the world. And John Wick was one of them. He retired, but bad guys came and killed his dog and tried to murder him, basically. And so now he's going to go out and kill them, and that's John Wick 1, where he goes after them. But he needs the resources of the assassins, and so he's drawn back into it. Number 2 is basically like, oh, we helped you out. Now you have to do jobs for it because now you're active again. And so he's assigned a job, and he's set up basically, and so the assassins are going after him as he's trying to get revenge and figure out what's happening. But he crosses a line in like trying to murder and killing the bad guy while he's in one of the safe houses, and which is against the assassin rules. And so he's excommunicated in number 3. And so all the assassins can now go after John Wick for like a $40 million bounty, and he has to survive and figure out the situation basically. And that's number 3.
And that's a recap of John Wick the series by Mr. Ramon Mejia.
Yes, that's me.
Story time. Yep. But it was fun. I definitely want to check out the series. To me, every time I see Keanu Reeves, to me he always will be like Neo at a cigarette. He's Constantine.
Yep.
So
there you go. And that movie sucked. I saw that again with.
You like it? You didn't like it?
I saw that with April again recently. I was like, this is not amazing.
To me, it was just worse having Shia LaBeouf in it.
Like, it didn't really feel like a Constantine movie as much as it did just like this end of the world apocalyptic movie.
Yeah, that's what I think of it more as.
I'm like, if you just give it a different name, and I would have probably been okay with it.
I liked the animated version of Constantine, and I also liked
I like the CW version.
There you go.
And I like the animated version too. I like the CW version a little bit better because they were feeling a little more exploratory of like religious themes.
Exactly.
And the animated version is very much like, let's murder some demons a lot of the time. So I felt like the CW version was trying to be like Preacher.
Yes,
just not as extreme, unfortunately, because they were on regular television and they couldn't go in the directions that the series potentially could have, with like religious outcry and like that kind of stuff, and cursing and sex and everything. But still a good attempt, and the probably the closest we've ever come to like seeing the comics come to life. Next, then, last one of the trailers is going to be Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase. Actually, I thought this was really interesting. I'm like, we'd heard about a Nancy Drew remake for probably about a year now.
Yeah.
And here it is. This is it. It's not a total suckfest. I genuinely thought it was gonna blow when I heard it. I'm like, who's gonna do Nancy Drew in the modern age? But it works. It really does. Like, at least from the trailer version, I'm like, cute kid. Skater girl, so she's not like super uptight and
a little older, but not like
she really does look
10.
like she's supposed to be 20 something in this from the actresses, but she was to be under 17. And she's exploring stuff. I'm like, oh, this can actually be very interesting, like this Netflix kind of world where they reboot Full House and stuff. Like this seems like it really does fit in that kind of slot of like, oh, family friendly, slightly edgy, and I feel like there's an audience for it.
Yeah, they didn't go cutesy rootsy like Harriet the Spy.
No, they it feels like genuinely interesting, female-driven, detective-ish stuff. I'm like, oh, this can actually work.
Yeah, there was another one that I can't think of it, but she had a very like 50s kind of look, but it was this whole detective series. I don't know if it was also Nancy Drew or.
I can actually see this as like as a Netflix series and not just a movie. I'm like, this same actresses, same thing. Detective stories along the way. A little more like a family or friendly version of what's her name? Veronica Mars.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So there it is.
Yeah,
those are our trailers. Totally. Very funny stuff. We have 5 trailers. Which one was the best for you, man?
I need to see the other John Wicks to appreciate number 3, but the geek in me, I'm gonna go Spider-Man.
Spider-Man was your pick, perfectly fine. I'm actually gonna go with Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase, just because it was a surprise. I'm like, maybe it was expectations, but I thought it was better than I was expecting. And for me, that's always surprising. Umbrella Academy for me came in second.
Yeah, I was gonna go that route next.
Without a doubt, I'm probably gonna watch all these things.
Definitely, they're all good.
Yeah,
there was like really not a bad one.
Trailer for Nancy Drew was the surprise. So there we go. And that's it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out with us, for watching, for supporting. If you want to support the podcast in any way, shape, or form, you can find out all the ways to do so at
geekbytespodcast.com/support.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Till we can hang out again, I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Acosta.
Remember, folks, to go geek out about something. Goodbye, everybody. Oh, that's right. I have to press the button. I could have bring it up and then press 9.
We learn as we live.
So temperamental.
Through the times.
So temperamental.
Experience.